There was this one little boy, his name was Clarence, he's now in like 8th grade, that when he first started going to the Imagine Bus projects, after school art, it was at Malcolm X Academy, which is in Hunters Point. It's a really, really tough school in a very tough neighborhood. So this little boy Clarence, he's just a great kid, but like so many other kids that the only way they know how to get attention is sort of negative attention. And so he would act out all the time. He was always throwing things and yelling and just, you know, was a handful. And he started going to our program and got a lot of one-on-one attention from the teaching artists there. And then they started doing sculpture with him. And sculpture really, really speaks to youth, to kids. I think it's just the building stuff with your hands. And so he started on a sculpture project, and he was really good at it. He just sort of naturally excelled. And he did some really amazing sculpture work. And he changed. Like I saw him a couple of months later, and he was so much calmer and happier. He was just all smiles. He then actually ended up transferring out of that school to a private school and is doing really, really well.
The Imagine Bus project was founded by a woman named Susan Little, and she had this mission to bring arts to underserved children. So she started with one bus and started driving around neighborhoods in San Francisco and really pulling up to playgrounds and inviting kids to come up off of the streets and onto the bus and do some creative projects.
You know, these kids are coming out of these schools and these programs that are, I think, depressed. You know, you're walking into their school and it's all gray and there's no color and it looks like a jail and fluorescent lighting, and then you bring them into our bus and it has all art on the walls and it's, you know, like this little gypsy caravan, and they get super excited. There's an automatic change in them once they're in a different environment, their behavior changes as well.
In 2004, we switched our model to partner with existing after-school programs and community organizations. So now we go into the classroom.
Oh, it's been a wonderful experience because they bring beautiful art and the curriculum ideas for the children to have fun while they're learning. Also because they are also implementing a literacy program, and the children are being exposed to very interesting ideas in art.
In San Francisco, the dropout rate for African American youth and Latino youth is almost 50%. And I know for me in high school, it wasn't school that kept me there. It was the stuff after school.
We have to add like more like fun to like, instead of like reading math, all the subjects all the time. Literacy.
The reason that it started, you know, back even when Susan did it, was just that, you know, arts education is being cut back everywhere.
I think art is important because if there was no art, everything would be plain and nothing would be colorful.
So what do you guys think that school would be like if you didn't have art class?
Drab. Really drab. And bogus.
Pretty boring, I think. Like, I'd probably focus a little bit more on academical things, but it wouldn't be that fun.
Most of the schools do not take the arts as something that's available for everyone.
You know, they want to see an outcome. They want to see, okay, here's A to B to C to D, and here's our product. And only when there's a product does it really have meaning and worth and value. So what this program does, it instills in the process and your emotional journey as a kid or a human being, rather than a direct product to be sold, to be put into a gallery and to have a label and a stamp on it.
And one of the things that is unique about about us is that we're a small agency. We have 3 full-time staff, 1 part-time administrative person, and 20 teaching artists that are all part-time, and we serve 7,000 kids. Just over the years, I've seen the power that the arts has in the lives of underserved youth. Again, I think it's the one time you go, they'll do photography for, you know, a semester and then have an exhibit, and when the kids show up at the exhibit, they're in suits and ties, and I mean, these are like 3rd graders. They're so cute, and they're just beaming, you know, their faces just glow, because it's, again, they just feel accomplished.
I think other classes that don't have arts classes should have art classes because they should have time to draw and have fun.
As it's fun and like you could learn more.
Critical and analytical thinking can be taught. I think, you know, visual thinking can be taught, symbols and signs and how to use that as a language. Just like, you know, you're taught how to speak English and write with adjectives and pronouns and periods and exclamation marks. I think it's the same thing. Everybody's an artist. It just depends on how refined you want to be.
The most important thing that art can bring to anyone is the ability to think, the ability to reflect, the ability to connect with other people and create an understanding about the world around you.
You know, I think that the written language is really powerful and strong, but I think that it's a huge, you have to add all of the ingredients in, you know, in order to make a whole human being.
I think they should have art programs because they could like express their like feelings and fantasy, and they could just like put it like on paper.
And culturally, sometimes, not all the time, the kids are able to express freely, and especially that the marching band let the students choose what they want to do, and when they're very open-minded about the project that they're doing, so it's just very beautiful.
I think we should have art in school because some kids, they have a bad school day, and art could like make them feel a lot better so they won't be as sad.
I think it helps other kids because some people think my drawings are pretty, and when they look at it, they smile.
It gives the ability to teach to all learning abilities, levels, and experiences. It can touch upon not only cognitive abilities, but integrates various subjects, ideas, concepts, and really develops young minds into thinkers and creators. And that's generally the part of the brain that really supports higher learning. And I think art should really continue to be a core curriculum in the school day.
And there's something for everyone. For some kids it's sports, for some kids it might be computers, but finding that one thing that really, really speaks to kids that are having a hard time, especially if they're really behind in school. Like they can't read, so they just feel terrible about themselves all the time, and then they act out. So if you can find that one thing, like for Clarence, it was sculpture. And if you can find that one thing that really helps to channel that energy and they can actually feel good about themselves, it just can make a really, just a profound difference in their lives.